Number 10. Mexican tarantulas. In 2011, Swiss customs officers spotted some very suspicious boxes on an inbound flight. The boxes were so suspicious that they assumed they were stuffed with drugs, and so they cut them open to check. But it wasn't drugs stashed inside the boxes. It was tarantulas! Yes, the big freaky spiders! The officials discovered 261 tarantulas being smuggled into the country, each one packed in its own plastic bag. These were Mexican red-kneed tarantulas, mildly poisonous to humans. The toxic insects can grow to be over 6 inches long and have a lifespan of up to 30 years. The shipment had been destined for an unidentified Swiss tarantula dealer sent from the Dominican Republic. Once they reached the dealer, they would have been distributed throughout Europe to potential buyers. 10 of the spiders were already dead from the trauma of having to fly across the world. The rest were still alive and were handed over to veterinarians for safekeeping. But the story didn't end at the airport. Authorities tracked down the dealer's house and discovered an entire tarantula farm. There were over 665 illegal spiders on the property, as well as 72 flesh-eating centipedes. It was a house of absolute horror. The 261 tarantulas would have been sold on the black market for over $11,000. Number 9. The iPhone smuggler. Smuggling iPhones is a surprisingly lucrative business, especially in China. But one woman in particular went above and beyond. Instead of bringing just 1 or 2 phones into the country to make some quick bucks, she decided to strap approximately 102 iPhones directly to her body. But, as with most things, getting greedy did not pay off. The female Iron Man, as she was named by the local press, was caught when officials in Shenzhen noticed her body didn't quite look right. She wasn't just frumpy, she was frumpy in all the wrong places. Airport security was suspicious that she was wearing so many layers of clothes, considering how hot it was outside. She also didn't seem to be properly proportioned. Her arms and legs were extremely thin, but her torso was bulky in an unnatural way. So they decided they needed to do an investigation. They pulled the woman aside and made her take off some articles of clothing. They discovered she had 4 layers of iPhones wrapped around her waist and torso. Each phone was sealed in plastic, and the entire bundle weighed about 44 pounds. She had been limping around the airport like an Oompa Loompa from all the weight strapped to her chest. Along with the phones, airport security also confiscated 15 luxury watches. Why did she do this? Phones cost upwards of 30% more in China than they do in America. You can purchase a phone and sell it in China at 20% more and still make a tiny profit. Number 8. Smuggling herself. Customs officials in Turkey discovered something unbelievable in March of 2015. Officials at this border crossing of Sarpi became suspicious of a 25-year-old man and demanded a look inside his suitcase. What they discovered inside was a 22-year-old woman curled inside like a baby in a womb. There was a literal person in the suitcase, trying to smuggle herself into the country. She was a native of Georgia, the country, not the state, and she had done something most people only joke about. I think we've all been going somewhere interesting and had a friend say, "Hey, why don't you take me along in your suitcase?" Nobody ever actually does it, except apparently this woman. In the end, the woman and her friend, also from Georgia, were arrested, processed, and sent straight back to their own country. They were also ordered never to return. Number 7. Baby in the carry-on. Jennifer Talbot was arrested in September of 2019 for trying to smuggle a baby in her carry-on luggage. She's now facing life in jail. Let's break this story down piece by piece because it's honestly astonishing. Jennifer is an American woman, and she tried to bring a baby onto the plane that was only 6 days old. Jennifer, a native of Ohio, basically tried to kidnap an infant from the Philippines and bring it back to America with her. She was accused by the Philippine authorities of violating anti-trafficking laws, as well as legislation which protects children against abuse and exploitation. This is what the Philippines National Bureau of Investigation said in a statement. Jennifer has no criminal record in the United States, but that doesn't matter to the Filipino authorities. This is arguably the worst country to be caught breaking the law in. This is the same country where drug dealers are often shot on sight and murdered. Jennifer is now facing a fine of up to $96,000, as well as life imprisonment. She had put the baby in her carry-on in an attempt to bring it back home, where she already had 5 children waiting for her. But Jennifer hadn't actually been trying to kidnap the child. She had taken it from its biological mother with her permission. The mother was apparently a friend of Jennifer's brother's ex-girlfriend. Jennifer simply wanted to take the baby away and give it a better life in America, as its biological mother seemed to be having issues raising it. Still, you can't just sneak a baby onto a plane and you carry on luggage, and now Jennifer is paying the ultimate price. Number 6. Colombian cocaine. 5 female drug smugglers were busted at a Colombian airport trying to sneak a massive quantity of cocaine out of the country. This happened in early 2022, when police became suspicious of one of these smugglers who happened to be pretending to be pregnant. She had a fake baby bump, and it caught the attention of one of the officials in the security screening area at the Ernesto Cortizos International Airport. The woman was pulled aside for a secondary inspection, at which point officers found bundles of cocaine wrapped around her abdomen. They were positioned in such a way that she was supposed to look pregnant, but it was very obviously fake. The flight was temporarily grounded while officers tracked down her companions. They discovered that the other 4 women also had cocaine packages strapped to their bellies. One of them had tried to remove the bundles in the bathroom but was busted in the act. In total, the authorities managed to seize 14 giant bricks of cocaine. Number 5. 52 reptiles. A man tried to sneak past the United States border agents in California with 52 snakes and lizards hidden inside his clothing. He was driving across the San Isidro border on February 25, 2022, in a truck when the Customs and Border Protection agents decided to make him pull over for an additional inspection. There was just something about this man that didn't quite sit right with them. What the agents discovered was a collection of small bags, each one holding a live reptile. But this guy wasn't stashing them in a secret compartment in his truck, not under the seat or in the glove box. He had all the reptiles concealed on his person, stashed in his jacket, in his pants pockets, and stuffed inside his pants against his skin. The individual, identified only as a 30-year-old citizen of the US, had 9 snakes and 43 horned lizards on him. All of these were seized, as they're all considered endangered species. But perhaps the more shocking part is that the man had the courage to have all these reptiles on him at the same time. Most people wouldn't be able to handle sitting in a truck with a live snake, never mind having them squiggling around in their pockets. Number 4. The dead passenger. In 2010, 2 women walked into the John Lennon Airport in Liverpool with a man named Kurt Willie Durant. The man was 91 years old, and the women, one of them his wife and the other his stepdaughter, had him sitting in a wheelchair with sunglasses covering his face. They were at the airport to catch a flight to Berlin. They also happened to be traveling with 2 young children. But here's the deal. The man in the wheelchair was dead, and the women knew it. They took a taxi to the airport and were sure to tell the employees once they arrived that the man was old, frail, and extremely tired. He didn't want to be bothered. But to everyone looking at him, it was pretty clear that he wasn't alive at all. There's just something about a dead body that really gives off creepy gray vibes. The women pushed the dead man in his wheelchair all the way up to the window to get ready to board their plane, and that was as far as they ever got. The woman who was working at the desk, Leah Gandhi, said shivers went down her spine when she realized she was looking at a dead body in the middle of the bustling airport. The family was asked to step into a side room. There, a doctor confirmed that the man was dead. Both the women were arrested. It turned out they were trying to bring the man back to Germany to be buried, and didn't want to deal with the bureaucratic headache of death certificates and specialized transport. They thought it would be easier to purchase him a seat on the plane and simply smuggle his corpse into Germany. Turns out, not so simple. Number 3. The fake wig. In the summer of 2019, a man tried to enter Spain with a serious amount of cocaine glued to his head. It was definitely one of the more ingenious smuggling attempts, though it failed spectacularly. He was busted by the police at the Barcelona International Airport when he arrived from Colombia. He had half a kilogram, or just over 1 pound of cocaine, underneath his wig. When the suspect got off his flight from Bogota, officers noted that he was extremely nervous. But his nervousness alone wasn't what got him caught. Police at the airport thought it was strange that his wig was so high off his head, it didn't look natural. Or at least, it didn't look like a wig that someone would voluntarily put on their head. It was huge and ridiculous. When they asked the man to take his wig off, they found a packet of cocaine stuck to his scalp. He'd glued the thing right to the top of his skull, where he was actually bald. Spain is one of the main points of entry in Europe for Colombian cocaine. Spain itself is an extremely popular destination for Colombians, and so it makes smuggling drugs across the border less suspicious. Authorities in Barcelona find drugs stashed on people in all kinds of creative ways. On one occasion, they found a Colombian man with drugs strapped to his abdomen and 35 condoms filled in his stomach. And 4 years before this happened, a woman was arrested at the airport in Madrid for having cocaine sewn into her wig. At the same airport, a different woman was discovered with nearly 3 pounds of blow hidden inside her breast implants. Number 2. 94 phones. Again with the phones. This time it was a man, and he had 94 iPhones strapped to his body when he tried to cross the border into mainland China from Hong Kong. It happened in 2015, and his story is pretty similar to the woman we talked about earlier. As we already know, having nearly 100 phones strapped to your body makes you look a little misshapen. The man was immediately suspicious to the customs inspectors when they saw he was walking strangely. He was traveling light, yet he blundered along like somebody with an extra 40 pounds strapped to his chest. The metal detector went off, and the man was searched. The authorities found the phones strapped to him with duct tape, covering his chest, crotch, and his thighs. In total, his collection of iPhone 5s and 6s would have netted him a profit of around $50,000 if he hadn't gotten caught. Number 1. A fishy scarf. A Vietnamese man tried to enter Australia with a fish strapped to his neck. The unnamed Vietnamese national, 34 years old, arrived at the Adelaide airport from Malaysia in April of 2019. He was selected to have his baggage examined. When the Australian Border Force officers didn't find anything mysterious in his luggage, they decided to frisk him. Not wanting to be embarrassed, he admitted right away that he was trying to smuggle something into the country. He opened up his jacket and showed them the bag with the fish in it, draped around his neck like a scaly scarf. It was later identified as a fully red Asian arowana, which is controlled under the International Convention and Trade of Endangered Species. For his daring crime, the man is now facing up to 10 years in prison and a fine that could be as high as $1 million. Thanks for watching. Would you rather get caught smuggling drugs at the airport or get arrested in a foreign country? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye!